All right, 3.2, we're talking about the unit circle. So this we've seen before, but now we're adding some coordinates. So I have some points here for each one, and I'm not going to go through each of it, but it comes through making right triangles with certain angles. So remember when we have the circle and we put the coordinates in the middle of it, we make the radius equal to 1. So when we make these new triangles, the hypotenuse is always 1. And then we solve for the other sides, which correspond with the x and y values. How far do you go over? How far you go up? Those are the triangle sides that make the x, y. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see that's where these numbers are coming from, like square root of 2 over 2. That's the length of the triangle side. And then up square root of 2 over 2. That's how high it's going. And we make all these triangles and get all of these points, which correspond to coordinates in the unit circle. So in the unit circle, our sine and our cosine values become point values. Because sine is the y value over the radius and the radius is 1, sine is always just equal to the y value. And that goes with cosine. The radius is equal to 1, so cosine is just x. So when you look at those xy points, I want you to also think x is cosine and y is sine. And then the tangent value, remember it's opposite over adjacent. It's actually on our circle, it's y over x. And x can't be 0 because it's the bottom of a fraction. So tangent is y over x, but it's also sine over cosine. And because there's xy values, those are positive and negative depending on the quadrant that we're looking in. So quadrant 1, everything's positive. Quadrant 2, sine is y, so they're positive, but cosine is x values. So cosine's negative, and then the division tangent would be negative. And same thing in quadrant 3, x and y are both negative, but when you divide those, tangent's positive. Quadrant 4, y is negative, x is positive. When you divide them, they're negative. So sometimes you're going to, depending on your answers, you're going to have to know if those values are positive or negative in that quadrant. But just remember, cosine's x, sine is y. And the difference here is we're just adding these coordinate values on our unit circle.